Hello, fellow Earthlings. Welcome to the Becoming the Big Me podcast. I'm your host, Djemilah Birnie, and together we will be stepping into our highest potential, exploring all things mind, body, and soul, with just a smidge of business. You're a spiritual badass, soulpreneur, and a warrior for change. You're ready to expand your impact and leave your old self behind in order to raise your vibration so that you can positively influence your business, your community, and ultimately the world. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Becoming the Big Me podcast. I'm your host, Djemilah Birnie, and today I want to talk to you guys about the importance of resilience in your routine after setback or change. I know that it can be very easy when a big change happens in your life or there is a large obstacle or setback in your path. It can be very easy to allow these things to shift us, to allow us to sway off of our path and off of the routine that we know works for us. And what begins to happen is these obstacles come and we slowly begin to fade away from the routine that helps us feel good and get the things that we need done. And we slowly begin to slip. And as we slip, we begin to slip a bit further. And this begins to make you feel even worse. And as you begin to feel worse, you begin to slip more on your routine. Do you see what begins to happen? What begins to happen is a spiral, and things begin to slowly spiral the opposite direction from your desires, from your goals, from what it is that you are looking to achieve. So something that I have learned after allowing this cycle to happen to me many times in my life is that this routine, these habits that we create, that we craft for ourselves, they need to be one of our top priorities. We need to put our habits, these, and it doesn't have to be anything excessive. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. For me, these habits include getting the proper amount of sleep. It includes remaining grateful, drinking the right amount of water, and moving my body, getting exercise, and having time outside. So we need to set a core set of habits that we know help us, we know help make us feel better, make us feel more productive, and help us get through our day. And we need to make these habits a top priority. They need to be the number one priority, because when we can be solid in these habits, when we can be solid in these systems that we know help us feel better, that we know help our minds, that we know help us keep moving forward, keep progressing towards our goal, keep progressing towards our dreams. When you can keep those habits, it makes you extremely resilient to the obstacles, to the hard times, to the things that come up. Because even when these things happen, you don't allow yourself to fade away. You don't allow yourself to go completely off the path, because even if there's a change, even if you have to move and the way that you execute these habits looks completely different, you have to figure out how to make them happen. How is it going to fit in this change, in this season? How can you still have these habits that you know help you? And when you ground yourself, when you do these habits, it overpours into every other area of your life. But the thing that you have to remember is the same way that when you do the habits, it overpours into every area of your life. When you don't do these habits, it also overpours into every area of your life. So if you are already going through a challenging time, if you are already facing an obstacle that feels too big for you to handle, that it makes you want to throw away all of the habits that you know serve you, it just makes you want to maybe just lay in bed and not do any of the things. But we all know that doing that does nothing to help. All that does is continue the spiral downward. So when you face these obstacles, I ask you, how solid are you in your habits? And this is why something that I really, really believe in is when you are in the good times, when you are in the times where you feel in control, where everything is going well, that you put conscious attention into creating your habits, because your habits are something that take time to ingrain. But if you put conscious attention into creating these habits, if you put conscious attention into the unconscious process, what happens is these positive habits, these habits that you know serve you, these habits that you know help you move forward and get closer towards your vision, get closer towards the dream that you are painting for yourself. When you put conscious attention into creating them and you repeat it over and over enough times, it becomes an unconscious pattern. And when you do this, when you put conscious attention into this unconscious process during the good times, when you're feeling in control, when you're feeling good, then when you are inevitably faced with the hard times that every human, that we all have to experience, that we all have to go through in this journey of life, then you already have that foundation built. You already have a so even when you are tempted to slip, you have something there. You're not built on nothing, and it's much easier to continue these habits during the hard times. And when you can push through the obstacles, when you can push through the changes, when you could push through the challenges in life and stay sturdy, stay solid in these habits, in these foundational habits, in these keystone habits that help and serve you in stepping into your bigger purpose, into stepping into your potential, into becoming the big me. When you can stay steady in those, you can overcome those obstacles. You can continue to move forward, because in life, in this human experience, it was not meant to be easy. We're not sent here to just have an easy experience and go on about our time. No, during these times of hardship, during these times of challenges, during these times of change, that's where we grow the most. That's where we truly have the opportunity to become the biggest version of ourselves, to become the big me, to step into the people that we were created to be. So I ask you this. Have you been putting conscious attention into creating your habits? Have you been putting conscious attention into the unconscious habits process, so that when you are faced with the obstacles that inevitably you will face in this journey, especially if you are chasing something that feels greater than life, if you are chasing something that feels greater than life, then expect greater than life problems. But it's okay, because you can overcome them and you can keep going, and that is how you can step into alignment with that potential of that person. So I ask you this: how solid are you in your habits? Have you been consciously putting attention into creating habits that serve you, that help you move forward, that get you closer to the vision, to the dream, to what you are creating? because having resilience in those habits is extremely important. It's something that I have learned is one of the most important things to overcoming, getting through those hard times, is to continue moving forward through the rough patches, is to make sure that even if I go off path a little bit with my habits, that as soon as possible I get realigned, I get back on track, and I am putting conscious attention into those foundational habits. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of the Becoming the Big Me podcast. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to leave us a review and share this episode with someone who needs to hear this message. That's how our podcast grows. Are you curious about learning more about harnessing the power of your subconscious mind? Then join the free Rewire Challenge, where we dive deep into the subconscious mind, how it works, and give you some tangible action steps to begin rewiring it to serve you. Go to bit.ly/Rewire Challenge. That's bit.ly/Rewire Challenge. Until next time, I'm your host, Djemilah Birnie, signing out.